A kind waitress enters the wrong apartment to escape her toxic ex who is chasing her, unaware it belongs to the mafia boss who has always watched her, enamored. Real quick, beautiful. If this story already has you hooked, give me a like and subscribe. We're building the ultimate romance community where thousands of women come together for stories that make us feel alive. The hallway smelled like expensive cologne and fear, Emily's fear to be specific. Her hands shook as she jabbed the key into apartment 7C. Except it wasn't her apartment. It was 7B. But when you're running from a man who's promised to make you regret leaving, you don't exactly check apartment numbers twice. The door clicked open. Thank God. She stumbled inside, slamming it behind her, pressing her back against the wood like it could somehow absorb her terror. Her heart hammered so loud she almost didn't hear the shower running. Almost. Oh God, she whispered, realizing her mistake. Wrong apartment. Very wrong apartment. She should have left, should have run back out into that hallway where Derek was probably still searching for her, his footsteps echoing like a death march. But her legs had turned to jelly, and her brain had apparently taken a vacation to stupid decision land. The shower stopped. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She pressed herself flatter against the door, as if she could somehow become invisible. Maybe he wouldn't notice her. Maybe he'd think she was a very realistic hallway decoration. The bathroom door opened. Steam rolled out like a movie scene, and then, oh sweet Jesus, he appeared. Dominic Russo stepped into the living room wearing nothing but a towel slung dangerously low on his hips, water droplets trailing down a chest that looked like it had been carved by an artist with a preference for perfection. His dark hair was slicked back, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass, and his eyes, those impossibly dark eyes, locked onto her with an intensity that made her forget how to breathe. She'd seen him before. Of course she had. He came into Rosie's diner every Thursday at 7 p.m., sat in booth 12, ordered black coffee and apple pie, and watched her like she was the most fascinating thing he'd ever seen. She'd thought it was creepy. Now, standing in his apartment uninvited, she realized creepy was a relative term. Well, he said, his voice smooth as aged whiskey, a slight smile playing at his lips. This is unexpected. Emily's mouth opened, closed, opened again. I'm so sorry. Wrong apartment, She reached for the doorknob behind her. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Emily. She froze. He knew her name. Of course he knew her name. Men like Dominic Russo knew everything. Your ex-boyfriend is currently standing outside apartment 7B, he continued, adjusting his towel with one hand while the other remained relaxed at his side. Too relaxed, like he dealt with panicked women breaking into his home every Tuesday. Looks pretty angry. I'd say you have about 30 seconds before he starts knocking on doors. Her blood turned to ice. How do you? I make it my business to know things. He tilted his head, studying her like a puzzle he was deciding whether to solve. Especially when it concerns people I'm interested in. Interested in? Her voice came out as a squeak. Real attractive, Emily. I've been watching you for 6 months, Tesoro. The Italian endearment rolled off his tongue like silk. Every Thursday, you smile at everyone except me. You think I'm dangerous. You are dangerous, she breathed. His smile widened, showing perfect white teeth. Smart girl. Which is why you're going to listen very carefully to what I'm about to propose. Outside, she heard it. Derek's voice, calling her name, pounding on a door down the hall. Dominic's eyes never left hers. I can make your problem disappear, permanently, but it'll cost you. I don't have money. I don't want your money. He stepped closer, and she could smell his soap, something expensive and masculine that made her head spin. I want you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about propositions from gorgeous, half-naked mafia bosses. They're never as simple as they sound. And this one? Honey, this was about to get complicated. Emily's back hit the door so hard she was pretty sure she'd have a bruise tomorrow, if she lived until tomorrow. Excuse me? Dominic's expression didn't change, but something flickered in those dark eyes. Amusement? Desire? A shopping list? With men like him, you could never tell. You need protection. I need. He paused, and for the first time she saw something human in his face, something almost vulnerable. A companion. Someone who doesn't know my world. Someone real. Real, she repeated flatly. You want real? I'm standing in a stranger's apartment in a 3-year-old dress that smells like French fries, Running from a man who thinks love means control, and you're offering me. What exactly? Everything. The word hung between them like a promise or a threat. Probably both. Derek's voice grew louder. He was at 7D now, getting closer. I want you to move in here, Dominic continued, his tone matter-of-fact, like he was discussing the weather and not her entire life. Be seen with me. Attend events. Play the part of my girlfriend. In return, Derek Thompson will never bother you again. You'll have security, financial stability, and freedom to do whatever you want with your life. Go to school. Start a business. Whatever you've been dreaming about while serving coffee to ungrateful bastards. Emily's mind raced. This was insane. Absolutely insane. You didn't make deals with mob bosses. That's like rule number 1 of not dying young. But then again, what were her options? Go back out there and face Derek, who'd already broken her phone, keyed her car, and sent her enough threatening messages to fill a true crime podcast? Keep working double shifts at the diner, barely making rent, jumping at every shadow? This isn't Pretty Woman, she said, hating how her voice shook. You can't just buy me. I'm not buying you. He moved closer, and God help her, she didn't back away. Couldn't. I'm offering you a choice. Stay with me for 1 year. Public appearances, nothing more unless you want it. After that, you're free to go with enough money to start over anywhere you want. Or, he gestured toward the door. Take your chances with him. Derek was at 7E. She could hear him threatening to call the cops, claiming his girlfriend was hiding from him. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so terrifying. Why me? She whispered. You could have anyone. His jaw tightened. Because everyone else wants something from me. Money, power, protection. You just want to be left alone. That's... He looked away, and for a second he seemed almost human. That's refreshing. 1 year? 1 year. And Derek? We'll wake up tomorrow in a different city with a new understanding of boundaries. Non-lethal, he added, catching her expression. I'm not a monster, Emily. Just a man who handles problems efficiently. 7F. Derek was right outside now. I need your answer to Sorrow. Now. Emily closed her eyes, thought about her mother's voice. Baby, sometimes the devil you don't know is better than the one you do. Mom had been talking about job offers, but the principle applied. She opened her eyes and met his gaze head-on. Okay, but I have conditions. Oh, she had conditions. I love this girl already. Standing there in her waitress uniform, smelling like a diner's closing shift, facing down a man who could probably make her disappear with a phone call, and she's negotiating. That's not bravery, honey. That's survival instinct with a backbone of steel. Dominic's eyebrow arched. If he was surprised, he hid it well. You're in a position to make demands? You need me to look real, right? Genuine? I can't do that if I'm terrified. Emily straightened her shoulders, channeling every ounce of courage she had left, which wasn't much, but she'd fake it. So yes, conditions. Derek's fist hit the door. Once, twice. Emily, I know you're in one of these apartments. Stop being dramatic. Dramatic. Right. Because running from someone who'd cornered her in a parking lot and screamed about how she belonged to him was just her being theatrical. Talk fast, Dominic said, but there was something in his voice. Respect, maybe? First, separate bedrooms. I don't care how big this place is, I'm not sharing a bed with you. Agreed. Second, I keep working at the diner, at least for a while. I'm not going to be one of those women who disappears into some man's life. His jaw tightened. That's a security risk. That's my condition. They stared at each other. Derek was screaming now, full-blown rage, the kind that got cops called and restraining orders filed, neither of which had ever stopped him before. Fine, Dominic said finally, but you'll have a driver, non-negotiable. Third, when this year is over, you let me go. No strings, no guilt trips, no mysterious accidents that keep me conveniently tied to you. You've watched too many movies. Have I? She tilted her head, channeling every brave woman she'd ever seen on screen. Because from where I'm standing, this entire situation feels like Act 1 of a mafia romance, and those never end well for the girl. Something flickered across his face. Hurt? Anger? Indigestion from that apple pie he always ordered? You're right, he said quietly. They don't. Which is why this is business, Emily. Pure business. You play your part, I'll play mine, and in 12 months, you walk away. Rich enough to start over, safe enough to sleep at night. I give you my word. And what's the word of a mob boss worth? Everything. The way he said it made her believe him. Stupid, probably. But something in his eyes. Derek kicked the door, hard. The frame rattled. I'm calling the police! An elderly neighbor shouted. Do it! Derek screamed back. She's my girlfriend! She's probably in there with some guy, cheating. Dominic moved so fast Emily barely registered it. One moment he was across the room, the next he was beside her, his hand on the doorknob. Last chance to run, Tesoro. Back out that door. Take your chances with him. Or stay. Choose. Emily looked at the door. Thought about Derek's hands around her throat 3 weeks ago, squeezing just enough to scare her. Thought about the messages. You're nothing without me. I'll find you. You'll regret this. Thought about her bank account with $247. Her car that wouldn't start. Her life that felt like a cage she'd built herself. She looked back at Dominic. What happens now? He smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Now I handle your problem. Then we discuss the details of our arrangement. He pulled the door open. Derek stood there, face red, fist raised to knock again. His eyes went from Emily to Dominic, still in just that towel, still dripping wet, and something ugly twisted in his expression. Who the hell are you? Dominic's voice dropped to something cold and lethal. I'm the man she's with now, and you're the man who's about to leave. Permanently. So here's the thing about confrontations in expensive apartment hallways. They're never as dramatic as the movies make them out to be. Real life is messier, more terrifying, and in this case, about to get very, very interesting. Derek looked Dominic up and down, his lip curling. Big mistake. You don't sneer at apex predators, even when they're wearing bath towels. She's my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend, Emily interrupted, finding her voice. It shook, but it was there. Very ex. Baby, don't be like this. Derek's voice shifted, went soft and pleading. She'd heard this tone before. The one that came before the apologies, before the promises to change, before the cycle started all over again. We just need to talk, alone, without this. He gestured at Dominic with contempt. Distraction. She's not going anywhere with you. Dominic's stance didn't change, but something in the air shifted, became dangerous. In fact, you're not going anywhere near her. Ever again. Derek laughed. Actually laughed. And who's gonna stop me? You? What are you, her sugar daddy? Emily, seriously, you're gonna choose some rich asshole over what we had? What you had, Dominic said softly, was abuse masquerading as love. What she's choosing is safety. Now leave. Make me. Oh, sweetie, those are what we call famous last words. Dominic didn't move, didn't raise his voice. Just said, very calmly, Marco. A door opened down the hall. A man stepped out, 6'4" of solid muscle in an impeccable suit, with a face that suggested he ate glass for breakfast, and enjoyed it. Boss? Mr. Thompson is leaving. Help him pack. He's relocating too. Dominic paused, thoughtful. Phoenix sounds nice, warm, far. Derek's face went white. You can't. I can. I am. You have 2 choices. Go voluntarily or go involuntarily. Either way, you're going. But voluntary involves keeping all your teeth. Emily? Derek's voice rose to a shriek. You're seriously gonna let him threaten me? I'll call the cops. You'll do nothing, Dominic interrupted. Because if you contact Emily again, if you so much as think about her, what happens next won't be a relocation. It'll be a disappearance. Capiche? The Italian word hung in the air like a death sentence. Derek looked at Marco, at Dominic, at Emily, who was watching this entire scene with a mixture of terror and, she hated to admit it, satisfaction. This isn't over, Derek spat. It is, Emily said, surprised by the strength in her voice. It's been over for 3 months. I just finally found someone who could make you understand that. Marco moved forward. Derek backed up. Smart man. Stupid in every other way, but smart about that. Oh, and Derek? Dominic called as Marco escorted him toward the elevator. Your car. It'll be in Phoenix waiting for you, along with a severance package from your current employer. Consider it a fresh start. Take it, or don't. But if you're smart, and I'm beginning to doubt you are, You'll take it and never look back. The elevator doors closed on Derek's furious face. The hallway went silent. Emily's legs gave out. She slid down the doorframe, landing on the expensive carpet, shaking so hard her teeth rattled. Dominic crouched in front of her, towel still somehow miraculously in place. Breathe, Tesoro. It's over. He's really... She couldn't form complete sentences. Gone. By morning, he'll be in Arizona with a new job and a very clear understanding of consequences. He touched her chin gently, lifting her face to meet his eyes. You're safe now. I promise. Why? The word came out broken. Why would you do all this for someone you don't even know? His thumb brushed her cheek and she realized she was crying. When had she started crying? Because 6 months ago, I watched you laugh at something a customer said. Really laugh. Pure joy. And I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt that. His voice went soft. Everyone in my world wants something, but you just want to exist without fear. That's... He stood, offering his hand. That's rare. Worth protecting. Emily took his hand, let him pull her up, stepped back into his apartment, her apartment now, apparently, and watched him close the door on her old life. So, she said, wiping her eyes. What now? He smiled. Now, Tesoro, we discuss the rules. Rules. Because of course there were rules. When you make a deal with the devil, or in this case, a devastatingly handsome mob boss in a towel, there are always rules. I just hope she read the fine print, because, honey, things are about to get complicated. Dominic disappeared into his bedroom, emerging 5 minutes later in black pants and a crisp white shirt he didn't bother buttoning all the way. Because apparently, the universe had decided Emily hadn't suffered enough tonight. Now she had to navigate a business arrangement while trying not to stare at his chest. Professional. She needed to be professional. This was a business deal, nothing more. Sit, he said, gesturing to a leather sofa that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. She sat, perched, really, like a bird ready to fly at the first sign of danger. He poured 2 glasses of something amber from a crystal decanter. You drink whiskey? I serve it. Never acquired the taste. Tonight, you'll acquire it. Trust me. She took the glass, sipped, coughed, felt fire slide down her throat and settle in her stomach like liquid courage. God, that's awful. That's a 30-year Macallan. Show some respect. It tastes like burning. He laughed. Actually laughed. The sound transformed his face, made him look younger, almost normal, almost like someone she could imagine being friends with. Almost. Rule 1, he said, settling into the chair across from her. When we're in public, you touch me. Hold my hand. Lean into me. Let people believe we're together. Define together. Lovers, partners, whatever sells the image that you're mine and I'm yours. But we're not. But they'll think we are. He sipped his whiskey, watching her over the rim. Rule 2. You attend all events I ask you to attend. Dinners, galas, meetings. You'll be introduced as my girlfriend. You'll smile, be charming, and never, under any circumstances, mention our arrangement. What do I tell people when they ask how we met? The truth. You walked into the wrong apartment. I offered you a drink. We talked. Love at first sight. His smile turned ironic. People eat that shit up. Love at first sight requires actual love. Does it? Or does it just require the performance of love? He leaned forward. That's all most relationships are anyway, Emily. Performance. Pretending. The only difference is we're honest about it. She wanted to argue, wanted to tell him he was cynical and wrong and that real love existed. But sitting there in his apartment, fresh from escaping a man who'd called obsession love, she wasn't sure anymore. Rule 3, he continued. You don't ask about my business. You don't investigate. You don't try to understand what I do or how I do it. You're the girlfriend, not the accountant. I wasn't planning on asking. Plausible deniability sounds nice. Smart. He finished his whiskey. Rule 4, you tell me everything about your schedule. Where you're going, who you're with. Not because I'm controlling. Just like Derek, she muttered. His eyes flashed. Not like Derek, because people will use you to get to me. Your safety depends on me knowing where you are. She wanted to argue, but he had a point. A terrifying, logical point. Rule 5, separate bedrooms as requested. But my bedroom is here. He pointed left. Yours is there. He pointed right. Master suite, bigger than your current apartment. Private bathroom, walk-in closet, the works. Why would you give me the master? Because I don't need much space, and you deserve something beautiful after living in fear. He stood, walked to the window overlooking the city. Rule 6, you can leave any time. Walk out that door and the deal's off. But if you leave, Derek's protection disappears. And I can't help you anymore. Understood. That's not really a choice. It's more of a choice than you had an hour ago. He turned back to her. Rule 7, and this is the most important one. No falling in love. Emily almost choked on her whiskey. Excuse me? This is business. The moment feelings get involved, it gets messy. I need clean. I need simple. So whatever attraction you think you feel, and yes, Tesoro, I can see it in your eyes, bury it. Because I can't give you forever. I can only give you 1 year. She stood, meeting his gaze. Trust me. After Derek, love is the last thing I want. You're safe. Good. But something flickered in his expression. Disappointment? Relief? Then we have a deal? Emily looked around the apartment, thought about her life, past, present, future, thought about the girl who'd served coffee and dreamed of something more, thought about the woman she could become with 1 year of safety and freedom. She extended her hand. We have a deal. He took it. His grip was warm, strong, and somehow gentle. Welcome to your new life, Emily Carter. Try not to hate it too much. Here's what they don't tell you about making deals with attractive criminals. The paperwork is extensive. And by paperwork, I mean the unspoken contracts you negotiate at 2 a.m. while sitting in a luxury apartment, wondering if you've lost your mind. Spoiler alert, she absolutely had. But sometimes crazy is the sanest option available. Your clothes, Dominic said, checking his phone. Messages were rolling in, probably about Derek's relocation. You'll need new ones. I have clothes. He looked at her waitress uniform, stained with coffee and smelling like the diner's industrial dishwasher. You have work clothes. You need wardrobe. I'm not playing dress-up Barbie for you. You're attending a gala with me Friday. Unless you want to wear that. He gestured at her uniform, in which case bold choice, very statement-making. She hated that he was right. Fine, but nothing too revealing, and I pick. Marco's wife, Angela, will take you shopping tomorrow. Tell her what you like. She has excellent taste and discretion. The scary guy has a wife? The scary guy has 3 daughters and coaches Little League. People are complicated, Emily. Try to remember that. She filed that information away. Marco, terrifying enforcer and girl dad. The cognitive dissonance was real. Your phone, Dominic continued. Derek broke it, correct? Smashed it, 3 weeks ago. Said I was spending too much time texting friends. His expression darkened. You'll have a new one tomorrow. Latest model. My number will be programmed in. You call me if anything feels wrong. Anyone approaches you. Anything. You're not my bodyguard. No, but they are. He nodded toward the window. Building security has your photo now. They'll track you in and out. And before you call it controlling, it's controlling. It's necessary. I have enemies, Tesoro. Actual enemies who would love nothing more than to hurt me through someone I care about, or appear to care about. He corrected quickly. The illusion is what matters. Emily stood, walked to the window. The city stretched below, all lights and possibilities and danger she couldn't see. I don't know if I can do this. Do what? Pretend. I'm not a good liar. He moved behind her, close enough she could feel his warmth but not touching. Respectful distance. You're not lying. You're playing a part. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Lying requires guilt. Acting requires commitment. All I need is your commitment for 12 months. Can you give me that? She turned, looked up at him, saw something in his eyes. Loneliness, maybe? Or recognition of loneliness in her? What happens after the year? She asked. Really? Really? You leave. I give you $2 million, tax-free, in an account only you can access. You go wherever you want, become whoever you want. And he paused. I go back to my life. Don't you want more than this? Than arrangements and performances? His jaw tightened. What I want and what I can have are two different things. I learned that a long time ago. That's sad. That's reality. He stepped back, breaking the moment. It's late. Your room is ready. Clothes in the closet should fit until Angela takes you shopping. Toiletries in the bathroom. Everything you need. How did you? I've been planning this for a while, Emily. Not the dramatic entrance, but the outcome. He walked to his bedroom door. Get some sleep. Tomorrow your new life begins. It'll be exhausting. Dominic? She stopped him before he could close the door. Thank you for saving me tonight. Whatever this is, whatever happens, thank you. Something softened in his expression. Don't thank me yet, Tesoro. We haven't gotten to the hard part. He closed the door. Emily stood alone in the apartment, her apartment, and felt the weight of her decision settle over her like a blanket, warm and suffocating all at once. She walked to her new bedroom, opened the door, gasped. It was beautiful, enormous. The bed could sleep 4 people comfortably, dressed in white linens that probably cost more than her car. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. A sitting area with plush chairs. Art on the walls. Real art, not prints. The closet held clothes in her size. Jeans, sweaters, dresses. Casual and elegant. All with tags still attached. The bathroom was marble and gold fixtures and a tub big enough to swim in. She caught her reflection in the mirror. Pale. Tired. Scared. But alive. Safe. For the first time in 3 months. Safe. Emily stripped off her uniform, left it in a heap on the floor, let that life stay there, and stepped into the shower. Hot water pounded her shoulders, washing away the diner smell, the fear smell, the Derek smell. When she finally emerged, wrapped in a towel that was somehow both impossibly soft and impossibly heavy, she found a note on the bed. In bold masculine handwriting, Rule 8, never let them see you afraid, even when you are, especially when you are. Sleep well, Tesoro. Tomorrow, we begin. D. Emily climbed into the massive bed, surrounded by luxury and safety, and the strange promise of a man she barely knew. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, she slept through the night without nightmares. Morning came with sunlight that felt like a personal attack. Emily woke disoriented, tangled in sheets that cost more than her monthly rent, staring at a ceiling she didn't recognize. For 3 glorious seconds, she forgot everything. Then reality crashed back like a freight train made of bad decisions and mafia bosses in towels. She grabbed her phone, new, sleek, expensive, from the nightstand. 9:47 a.m. She was supposed to be at the diner at 6:00 a.m. for the breakfast shift. Panic seized her chest until she saw the text messages. Dominic. Called the diner, told them you quit. 2 weeks severance deposited in your account. You're welcome. Dominic. Angela will be there at 11 a.m. Be ready. Dominic. Coffee's in the kitchen. Don't overthink this. Don't overthink this. Right. Because waking up in a stranger's apartment after making a deal with the mob was totally a go-with-the-flow situation. Emily dragged herself out of bed, pulled on the robe hanging in the closet, silk, naturally, because apparently her life was a rom-com now, and ventured into the kitchen. Dominic sat at the island, reading a newspaper, an actual physical newspaper, like some kind of movie villain. He'd traded last night's casual look for a 3-piece suit that probably cost more than a car. He looked up when she entered, and something flickered in his expression. You're awake. You quit my job. Her voice came out accusatory. Good. She was going for accusatory. You're welcome. I didn't ask you to do that. You also didn't ask me to save you from your psychotic ex, but here we are. Coffee? He gestured to a machine that looked like it required an engineering degree to operate. I don't know how to use that thing. Neither do I. Mrs. Chen made it before she left. He poured from a carafe into a mug. Cream? Sugar? Both. Lots of both. She accepted the mug, taking a long sip. It was perfect. Annoyingly perfect. Who's Mrs. Chen? Housekeeper. Comes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She's discreet, loyal, and makes excellent coffee. You'll like her. You have a housekeeper named Mrs. Chen who makes you coffee. Emily laughed, slightly hysterical. This is insane. My entire life is insane now. Welcome to my world, Tesoro. He folded his newspaper with precise movements. Angela will take you shopping. Buy whatever you need. Clothes, shoes, accessories. Don't worry about price. I can't let you. You can and you will. Part of the arrangement. You represent me now. That means looking the part. His eyes traveled over her silk robe, and she fought the urge to pull it tighter. Not that you don't look beautiful as is. Her cheeks heated. Don't. Don't what? Flirt. Rule 7, remember? No falling in love. That includes flirting. His smile turned sharp. That wasn't flirting, Emily. That was observation. When I flirt, you'll know. He stood, buttoning his suit jacket. I have business today. Marco will be outside if you need anything. Don't leave the building without telling him. I'm not a prisoner. No, you're a target. Learn the difference. He moved toward the door, then paused. The gala is Friday. 3 days. Angela knows what you need. Trust her. Dominic? She stopped him, not sure what she wanted to say. Thank you? This is crazy? Please don't let me regret this. He turned, and for a moment his expression softened. You're safe here, Emily. I promise. No matter what happens, you're safe. Then he was gone, leaving her alone with expensive coffee and the growing realization that she just traded one cage for another. This one was prettier, sure, more comfortable, but still a cage. She was contemplating this cheerful thought when the doorbell rang. Angela, presumably. Time to play dress-up for her new role as Mafia arm candy. Emily took a deep breath, set down her coffee, and went to answer the door. Her new life was waiting, whether she was ready or not. Angela Russo was not what Emily expected. Then again, nothing about the last 12 hours had been expected. So why start now? The woman standing in the doorway was maybe 5'2" in heels, with warm brown eyes, perfectly styled dark hair, and a smile that could disarm a nuclear weapon. She wore designer jeans and a cashmere sweater like they were casual Friday attire, which they probably were in her world. Emily. She pulled Emily into a hug before Emily could protest. I've been dying to meet you. Dominic's been talking about you for months. He has? Emily extracted herself from the embrace, confused. Months? He'd said 6 months. Had he been planning this that long? Oh, constantly. The girl from the diner. She has the most genuine smile. I wonder what makes her happy. Angela breezed past her into the apartment, carrying shopping bags Emily hadn't noticed. Marco thought he was losing his mind. I thought it was romantic. Turns out, we were both right. Emily closed the door, processing. Dominic had talked about her? To his family? That seemed excessive for a business arrangement. I brought some basics to start, Angela continued, unloading bags onto the dining table. But we're absolutely going shopping. Real shopping. The kind where we spend ridiculous amounts of money and drink champagne in dressing rooms. Have you ever done that? I've shopped at Target. Oh, sweetie, you're in for a treat. Angela's eyes sparkled with mischief. Marco told me what happened last night, with your ex. I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm okay now. You're safe now. There's a difference. Angela's expression turned serious. My brother can be intense, controlling, and sometimes a complete ass. But he protects what's his. And apparently, you're his now, so you're family, which means I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. Understood? Brother. Angela was Dominic's sister. That explained the easy affection, the protective tone. I didn't know Dominic had a sister. He has 3. I'm the oldest. Also the most fun. She pulled out a dress, deep emerald green, elegant, stunning. For the gala Friday. Try it on. Now? Now. I need to see if the color works with your skin tone. Also, I'm nosy and want to see you in something other than... She gestured at Emily's robe, expensive sleepwear. Emily took the dress, retreated to her bedroom, and slipped it on. It fit perfectly, hugged every curve she had, and created a few she didn't know existed. The neckline was modest but elegant. The back was not modest. She stepped back into the living room. Angela's face lit up. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Dominic's going to swallow his tongue. That's not the goal, isn't it? Angela tilted her head, studying Emily with unsettling intensity. You know this isn't real, right? This whole arrangement? Emily froze. He told you? Honey, I'm his sister. He tells me everything. Eventually. Usually after I threaten to tell Mama about whatever stupid thing he's done. She sat on the sofa, patting the cushion beside her. Sit. Let's talk. Emily sat, feeling exposed in the dress and the conversation. Dominic thinks he's protecting you, Angela said gently. And maybe he is. But he's also protecting himself. From feeling, from wanting, from the possibility of something real. She took Emily's hand. My brother is a good man trapped in a bad world. He's convinced himself he doesn't deserve happiness. That love is weakness. That caring about someone makes them a target. He's probably right about that last part. Maybe. But living in fear isn't living. It's surviving. Angela squeezed her hand. I'm not telling you to fall in love with him. God knows that would be complicated. I'm just saying, keep an open mind. Sometimes the best things happen when we're not planning them. Angela, I know. Business arrangement. 1 year. Clean exit. He briefed me. She smiled sadly. Just promise me something? Don't let him keep you at arm's length because he's scared. And don't keep yourself there because you are. You both deserve better than that. Emily didn't know what to say. This was supposed to be simple, transactional, safe. But looking at Angela's knowing eyes, she realized nothing about this situation was simple. And safe? That ship had sailed the moment she'd walked through the wrong door. Shopping with Angela Russo was like being swept up in a hurricane made of designer labels and enthusiastic commentary. The woman had opinions about everything: shoes, bags, the correct way to wear a scarf, the social politics of choosing one designer over another at certain events. Emily's head spun trying to keep up. This, Angela declared, holding up a midnight blue cocktail dress, says I'm classy, but could absolutely ruin your life if provoked. Which is exactly the energy you need at Friday's gala. I thought the green dress is perfection for making an entrance. This is for the next event. And trust me, there will be many events. Dominic's social calendar is insane. Galas, benefits, business dinners that are really just elaborate posturing sessions. She tossed the blue dress onto the growing pile. You'll need at least 15 outfits for the next month alone. 15? Emily's voice cracked. Angela, that's too much. It's not enough, but it's a start. Angela steered her toward evening shoes. Let me explain something about Dominic's world. Appearance is everything. How you dress, how you carry yourself, who you're seen with, it all sends messages. You're going to be analyzed, judged, and discussed by people who've been playing these games their whole lives. That's terrifying. It's exhausting, Angela corrected. But you'll learn, and I'll help. She picked up a pair of stilettos that looked like instruments of torture disguised as footwear. These are Louboutins. Every woman in Dominic's circle will notice them. They cost approximately what you made in a month at the diner. Emily took the shoes, staring at the red soles. This is obscene. This is survival. In their world, weakness is death. Not literal death, usually, but social death. They'll look for any crack, any sign you don't belong, so you don't give them one. Angela's expression turned fierce. You hold your head high, you smile like you own the room, and you remember that you survived something most of them couldn't imagine. That makes you stronger than all of them combined. Something in Emily's chest loosened. You're good at this. The pep talk thing. I've had practice. 3 younger siblings, all dramatic. Plus Marco, who's basically another brother. I'm the family's emotional support system. She softened. And now I'm yours too, if you'll let me be. Why are you being so nice to me? You barely know me. Because my brother looks at you like you're the sun, and he's been living in darkness for 10 years. Because you walked away from an abuser, which takes more courage than most people have. And because... She smiled. I like you. You're real. Everyone else in Dominic's life wants something from him. You just want to be free. That's refreshing. The same thing Dominic had said. Was that really how they saw her? As someone refreshingly uncomplicated? If only they knew about the mess inside her head. They spent 3 more hours shopping. Dresses, shoes, bags, jewelry, even lingerie, which made Emily blush so hard, Angela laughed and called her adorable. By the time they finished, Emily had acquired a wardrobe that represented more money than she'd seen in her lifetime. Now, Angela said as they loaded bags into an SUV where Marco waited patiently, the fun part, we're getting you ready for Friday. Hair, nails, makeup trial. I know a place. Angela, I can't. You can. You will. And you'll love it. Trust me. Emily climbed into the SUV, surrounded by luxury and designer bags, and the strange warmth of being cared for by someone who didn't have to care. Angela chatted with Marco about their daughter's soccer tournament, normal family stuff that made Emily's chest ache. She pulled out her phone, typed a message to Dominic. Emily, your sister is a force of nature. Also, I now own more shoes than I have feet. This is your fault. The response came immediately. Dominic, Angela is unstoppable. How are you holding up? Emily, overwhelmed, grateful, terrified, the usual. Dominic, good. Fear keeps you sharp. I'll see you tonight. Dinner at 8. Dress casual. Just us. Just us. Why did that make her stomach flip? This was business. Just business. But as the SUV pulled away from the shopping district, Emily caught her reflection in the window, flushed, smiling, alive, and wondered if maybe, possibly, she was lying to herself about what this really was. Dinner at 8 turned out to be homemade pasta in the apartment, Dominic cooking while Emily watched from a bar stool, trying not to stare at the way his sleeves were rolled up, exposing forearms that had no business being that attractive. You cook, she said, stating the obvious because her brain had apparently left the building. I cook. My mother insisted all her children learn, said depending on others for basic needs was a weakness. He stirred sauce with practiced ease, tasting it, adding more basil. Plus, it's calming, meditative. After a day of dealing with idiots, I need calm. Rough day? Someone tried to skim from one of my businesses. He's now reconsidering his life choices. Literally. I gave him 48 hours to think about whether he values his kneecaps. He said it casually, like discussing weather. Emily's stomach churned. You're joking, right? Partially. I'm not actually going to break his kneecaps, probably, but he doesn't know that. Dominic plated the pasta, brought it to the island, sat beside her. This is my world, Emily. Violence, threats, power plays. If that's going to be a problem, I knew what I was signing up for, mostly. I just didn't expect you to be so casual about it. Would you prefer I pretend to be something I'm not? His dark eyes held hers. I'm not a good man, Tesoro. I do bad things for worse reasons. The only difference between me and Derek is I'm honest about what I am, and I'd never hurt you. But you'd hurt others. To protect what's mine? Absolutely. He twirled pasta onto his fork. This world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards strength. You be weak, you die. You be strong, you survive. I choose survival. Every time. Emily ate in silence, processing. The pasta was incredible. Rich, flavorful, perfect. Of course it was. Everything about Dominic was perfect on the surface. It was the underneath that terrified her. Angela told me you've been watching me for 6 months, she said finally. Talking about me, to your family. His jaw tightened. Angela talks too much. Is it true? Yes. He set down his fork, meeting her gaze. I noticed you in January. You were serving this old man who'd clearly been stood up. Instead of rushing him, you sat with him, talked to him, made him feel less alone. Then you paid for his meal when you thought no one was looking. His voice went soft. I watched you sacrifice your tips for a stranger's dignity. And I thought, she's dangerous. Dangerous how? Because you made me feel something. And feeling is dangerous in my world. He stood abruptly, gathering plates. I should have stayed away. Should have let you live your life. But then Derek escalated, and I saw an opportunity to help you while helping myself. Win-win. Except it's not that simple, is it? Emily followed him to the sink. You don't do all this, the protection, the money, the care, for just anyone. So what am I really to you, Dominic? He turned, and the expression on his face made her breath catch. Raw, vulnerable, real. You're the first person in 10 years who looked at me and saw a man, not a monster, not a boss, not a weapon, just a man. His hand came up, cupped her cheek gently. And that terrifies me more than any enemy ever could. Emily's heart pounded. This was the moment where everything changed, where business became something else, where she could step back, maintain distance, keep safe. She leaned into his touch instead. I'm terrified too, she whispered. Of this, of you, of what I'm feeling. What are you feeling? Like maybe Rule 7 was doomed from the start. His thumb brushed her cheek. Emily. The moment shattered as his phone rang. Dominic pulled back, checked the screen, cursed viciously in Italian. I have to take this, he answered, his voice going cold and professional. Marco, what's wrong? Emily watched his expression shift from soft to stone in seconds. Whatever Marco was saying, it wasn't good. When? Pause. How many? Pause. Lockdown protocol. Now, I'm on my way. He hung up, already moving toward his bedroom. Emily, listen carefully. Stay in this apartment. Don't answer the door for anyone except me, Marco, or Angela. Understand? What's happening? Something I need to handle. You're safe here. Building security's been doubled. But I need you to promise me you'll stay inside. Dominic, you're scaring me. He grabbed her shoulders, his intensity burning through her. Promise me. Please. I promise. He kissed her forehead quickly, a gesture so tender it made her chest ache. Then he was gone, leaving her alone with cold pasta and the terrifying knowledge that whatever safety she'd found was more fragile than she'd thought. 3 hours later, Emily was climbing the walls. Literally. She'd paced so much she'd probably worn a path in Dominic's expensive carpet. Her phone had been silent except for one text from Angela. Stay inside. Everything's fine. Promise. Everything was clearly not fine. She'd tried watching TV, reading, even attempted using that intimidating coffee machine. Nothing worked. Her mind kept spiraling back to Dominic's face. The fear she'd seen there, quickly masked but there nonetheless. What could scare a man like him? The lock clicked. Emily spun toward the door, heart hammering, until Dominic walked in. He looked exhausted, his suit jacket gone, his shirt partially unbuttoned, a cut on his cheek she hadn't seen before. You're hurt. She moved toward him without thinking. It's nothing. A disagreement that got physical. He waved her off, heading straight for the whiskey. Poured, drank, poured again. Dominic, what happened? Business. The kind you don't ask about. Remember? But his hands shook slightly as he raised the glass. Emily made a decision. Walked over. Took the glass from him. Set it down. Took his hands in hers. Talk to me, please. For a long moment, he just looked at their joined hands. Then, quietly, someone went after my family. Not me. My family. Marco's youngest daughter. They took her from school. Emily's blood ran cold. Oh my God, is she... She's safe. We got her back within an hour. She's fine. Scared, but fine. His grip tightened on her hands. But they used a child, Emily, a 7-year-old child, to send me a message. What message? That they can get to anyone I care about, anytime, anywhere. He pulled away, running a hand through his hair. This is why I don't let people in. Why I keep everyone at arm's length, because caring about someone makes them a target, and I won't let that happen to you. I'm already in this, Dominic. I've been in this since I walked through that door. Then maybe you should walk back out, tonight. I'll still give you the money. Still make sure Derek stays away. But you leave, and they won't see you as leverage. You'll be safe. You're trying to protect me by pushing me away. I'm trying to protect you by being realistic. This isn't some romantic story where love conquers all. This is real life. My life. And people die in my life, Emily. People I care about become casualties. She stepped closer, forcing him to look at her. What happened to Marco's daughter wasn't your fault. It was absolutely my fault. I made enemies. They retaliated. She paid the price. And you got her back. You protected her. That's what matters. This time. What about next time? His voice cracked. What happens when they come for you? When I'm too late? When I have to watch someone else He stopped himself, jaw clenched. Someone else you what? Care about. The admission seemed to cost him. I care about you, Emily. More than I should. More than is safe. For either of us. Emily's heart raced. This was it. The moment of truth. She could leave. Take the out he was offering. Walk away with her safety intact and her heart unbroken. Or she could stay. Risk everything. Choose the man over the arrangement. I'm not leaving, she said firmly. Not tonight. Not because you're scared. If I leave, it's going to be my choice. On my terms. When I'm ready. Not because you decided for me. Emily, you don't get to protect me by making my decisions. I've had enough men do that. Derek decided what I could wear, who I could see, where I could go. I won't trade one cage for another, even if this one is prettier. She grabbed his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. I'm staying. Deal with it. Something broke in his expression. Relief, fear, want, all of it tangled together. You're going to regret this, he whispered. Probably. But it'll be my regret, my choice, my life. She pulled his face down, pressed her forehead to his. So stop trying to be noble. It doesn't suit you. He laughed, broken and real. You're terrifying, you know that? Good. You need someone who terrifies you, keeps you honest. She pulled back slightly. Now let me clean that cut on your face before it gets infected. Emily. First aid kit. Where is it? He gestured toward the kitchen. Under the sink. She found it, returned, made him sit on the sofa. Gently cleaned the cut while he watched her with an intensity that made her hands shake. When I saw Marco's face, he said quietly, when he told me they had Sophia, I've never been that afraid. Not even when my father died, not when I took over the family. Never. His hand came up, caught hers, and all I could think was, what if they go after Emily next? What if I can't protect her? You can't control everything, Dominic, no matter how powerful you are. I know. That's what terrifies me. She finished with the cut, sat beside him. So what do we do? We? I'm in this now, all the way. So stop trying to shoulder everything alone and let me help, even if it's just being here, reminding you that you're not a monster. You're just a man trying to protect his family. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. You're going to destroy me, Tesoro. Maybe, but you'll let me. They sat there in silence, holding each other as the city lights flickered outside, as danger lurked in shadows, as whatever they were building, business arrangement or something more, solidified into something neither could deny anymore. Rule 7 was definitely broken, and neither of them cared. The gala was everything Emily had feared, and nothing she'd expected. The hotel ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and designer gowns and people who'd perfected the art of smiling while calculating your net worth. She stood at Dominic's side in her emerald dress, his hand possessive on her lower back, and tried not to panic. Breathe, he murmured in her ear. You look stunning. They're all jealous. They're all staring. Because you're with me, and because you're the most beautiful woman here. He pressed a kiss to her temple, playing the devoted boyfriend perfectly. Except Emily wasn't sure he was playing anymore. Neither was she. 3 days had passed since Marco's daughter's kidnapping. 3 days of Dominic teaching her how to navigate his world, which fork to use, which people to avoid, which smiles meant danger. 3 days of growing closer, of barriers crumbling, of Rule 7 becoming a joke they no longer told. Dominic Russo. A man approached, all expensive suit and predatory smile. Heard you had some excitement this week. Nothing I couldn't handle, Vincent. Dominic's voice went cold. Unlike some people, I protect what's mine. Vincent's eyes slid to Emily, assessing, dismissing. New acquisition. She's lovely. Where'd you find her? Walked into my life uninvited. Best thing that ever happened to me. Dominic's grip tightened on her waist. Emily, this is Vincent Marconi. We do business occasionally. Vincent, this is Emily Carter, my girlfriend. Off limits. The possessiveness in his tone sent shivers down her spine. This wasn't an act. This was real. Vincent raised his glass in a mock toast. Of course. Wouldn't dream of poaching. Enjoy the evening. He walked away, but something about his smile made Emily's skin crawl. I don't like him, she whispered. Good instincts. He's the one who ordered Sophia's kidnapping. Dominic's voice was arctic. Unfortunately, I can't prove it, yet. But I will, and when I do. He left the threat hanging. The evening progressed in a blur of introductions, champagne, and carefully orchestrated small talk. Emily played her part perfectly, charming, elegant, appropriately deferential without being weak. Angela had trained her well, but it was exhausting. Being watched, judged, analyzed like a stock portfolio. I need air, she told Dominic during a lull. Balcony, 2 minutes. I'll meet you there. He kissed her hand, a gesture so genuine several nearby women sighed audibly. Emily escaped to the balcony, gulping cool night air, trying to remember who she'd been a week ago. That girl seemed like a stranger now. Quite the performance. She spun. Vincent stood in the shadows, smoking. How had she not noticed him? Excuse me? You and Dominic. Very convincing. Almost believed it myself. He stepped closer, and every instinct Emily had screamed danger. But I know him. He doesn't do relationships. He does transactions. So what's your angle? What are you getting out of this? That's none of your business. Everything about Dominic is my business. We're competitors, enemies pretending to be allies. And you. His smile turned ugly. You're his weakness, the crack in his armor. That makes you my business. Emily's heart hammered, but she kept her voice steady. Touch me and he'll kill you. Oh, I won't touch you. I'll just make sure he knows I could have. Anytime I want. Vincent flicked his cigarette over the railing. Tell him this. What happened to Marco's daughter was a warning. Next time I won't be so merciful. And next time it might be you. He walked past her, back into the ballroom, leaving Emily frozen with terror. She should tell Dominic, immediately. But the ballroom doors opened again, and Dominic emerged, his expression softening when he saw her. Hey, you okay? You're pale. Tell him now. But looking at his face, the worry, the care, the love he wasn't admitting, Emily made a choice. If she told him about Vincent's threat, Dominic would do something reckless. Something that might get him killed. She couldn't lose him. Not now. Not when she'd finally found something worth fighting for. I'm fine, she lied, hating herself for it. Just overwhelmed. This world. It's a lot. He pulled her close and she buried her face in his chest, memorizing his scent, his warmth, the steady beat of his heart. We can leave any time you want, he murmured. Say the word. Not yet. I want to dance with you first. If we're going to do this fake relationship, we should at least get one real dance out of it. Who says it's fake? He pulled back, cupped her face gently. Emily, I know we said business, but don't. She pressed her fingers to his lips. Not here, not now. When this night is over, when we're home and safe, then we'll talk about what this really is, okay? He nodded, took her hand, led her back inside to the dance floor. The orchestra played something slow and romantic, and as Dominic pulled her into his arms, Emily let herself pretend. Pretend they were normal. Pretend Vincent's threat didn't exist. Pretend she wasn't falling in love with a man whose world could kill them both. For one perfect dance, she pretended everything would be okay. And somewhere across the ballroom, Vincent watched them with a smile that promised nothing but destruction. But Emily didn't see him. She was too busy memorizing the way Dominic looked at her, like she was everything, like she was worth dying for, like she was his salvation and his doom all at once. The music swelled. Dominic whispered something in Italian she didn't understand but felt in her bones. And Emily made a silent vow. Whatever came next, whatever Vincent planned, whatever danger lurked in the shadows, she'd face it. Because she'd finally found something worth fighting for. Someone worth saving. Even if it meant destroying herself in the process. This was love. Dangerous, reckless, impossible love. And neither of them was walking away. Not now, not ever.